Happy Friday, everybody. Ooh, my eyebrows. Good morning. It's the woolly Mr. Litt. Um, Before we get into reading, I want to remind you, don't know what to do with your school day? Look at this. Ooh, sunlight. Look at this schedule. I'm going to post this on my blog, too. Okay? Announcements. Important announcements. Zoom meeting this Tuesday by grade level. I haven't announced this on Constella yet or anything. The fourth graders at 10, the fifth graders at 1. For 1 week, grade level Zoom meeting on Tuesday. Fourth graders at 10, fifth graders at 1. Just to let you know, too, new writing assignment on the way on Monday. No more of this, what is a character feeling? I'm going to be assigning it on the blog. And it's going to be on Cardboard Kingdom. I'm going to ask you to reread that graphic novel, which I have scanned on my blog, so you don't need a copy. And we're going to do a little literature writing exploration with that novel. Some of you read it, some of you like it, some of you don't. It's an assignment. As Mr. Litt says, it's an assignment. All right, let's jump right in to Bud Not Buddy. We're going to learn a lot about history through Bud. Pretty soon we're going to learn about the Pullman cars and the railroads as well. All right. Bud's life had changed. No more of this homes and everything. He had met Lefty Lewis, and Lefty Lewis was leading him back to his father at Grand Rapids. I can talk. But we also know he's leading him into a new chapter. Okay, breakfast, right. Food. I started blinking and acting like those were the first words I had heard that morning. I said, huh? Like I was kind of confused. The woman smiled real big and said, oh, I see I've got your attention. Good morning, young man. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, Mr. Lewis. Hey, you remembered my name. I'm impressed. Good morning, Walking Willie. We got to hit the road in a bit. Better hurry up and get some food in your belly. He acted like he was whispering just to me when he said, the food in this joint ain't the best. And guaranteed after you eat here, you won't be hungry for days. This meal's going to be sitting on your stomach like a rock for a good time. The woman said, ignore him, Bud. That's my father, and he doesn't mean anything. He just can't stop teasing me. I know, ma'am. He told me I got a head like a peanut. The woman slapped her father on the arm. Papa, I can't believe it. You teased this child already? What is on your mind? Lefty Lewis rubbed his hand all over my head and said, look at this noggin. I rest my case. Boys like this one out of George Carver's at Washington Carver's experiments, sprouted legs and run off. He's a peanut. He's got a peanut head. You're not from Tuskegee, Alabama, are you, Bud? Oh, no, sir. The woman sucked in her lower lip and swallowed before she said, see, Bud, he can't help himself. But he really doesn't mean anything. Do you, Papa? The way she asked him that, you'd have been pretty stupid not to know how to answer. Lefty Lewis said, not a thing. It's just you. His daughter spoke up. My name is Mrs. Sleet, Bud. I'm pleased to meet you, ma'am. Now, while you wash up, I'm going to get some clothes that my boy outgrew a while ago, barely been used. So when you get dressed, you come on down, we'll eat, and you chose a great day to visit. We're having a very special breakfast today. Pancakes, sausages and toast, and a big glass of orange juice. You can meet Scott and Kim, too. So this is Lefty Lewis's daughter and her kids. Lefty Lewis is a grandpa. That sounds real good, ma'am. Thank you very much. Don't mention it. It's a pleasure having such a well-mannered young visitor. Mrs. Sleet and Lefty Lewis left the room, and as soon as they were a bit down the hall, I could hear her start scolding her father again. I just can't believe it. You know, Mama was right about you. All I could hear next was mumbling and some answering, and then her slapping his arm again. After I changed, I saw that Mrs. Sleet had put some clean clothes on the bed. My old clothes were gone, except for my drawers, which I hadn't taken off. She even put clean drawers out for me, so when I put them on, I snuck my old ones in the pocket of my new pants. I could ditch them when I got to Grand Rapids. It's too embarrassing to have strangers look at your old drawers, even if it is a stranger as nice as Mrs. Sleet. The new clothes were just a little bit too big, but they were long pants and not knickers. But I didn't care. I rolled the cuffs into pants, and the sleeves fit pretty doggone good. Man, my first pair of trousers. Wow, his first pair of trousers. I let my nose lead me down to where the smell of pancakes and toast was coming from. The sleeves had a room for eating, and it had a big table in the middle of it. The first thing I noticed was a huge pile of pancakes sitting on a blue and white plate on top of the table. Bud has never seen a dining room. A room just for eating. Wow. Think about what that means for his life, what he's been through. Lefty Lewis was sitting with Mrs. Litt's kids, and the little girl had a big smile, and the boy was up looking at me really hard. It wasn't one of those put up your Duke looks, but it was one like a dog gives another dog that might be passing through the neighborhood. Lefty said, Bud, these two worrisome midgets are my grandkids. Kim is my favorite granddaughter, and Scott is my favorite grandson. Of course, they're my only grandkids, so in fairness, you'd have to say they're also my least favorite grandkids. They had a lot of practice being around their teasing old granddad because they didn't pay him any attention at all. Hi, my name's Bud, not Buddy. The girl said, that's a strange name, Bud, not Buddy, even though she was kind of young and scrawny to be teasing folks. That's my girl, he laughed, and he went to the kitchen. Did you really run away from home? I had to stop and think. It's one thing to lie to a grown-up. Most adults want to hear something that lets them take their attention off you and put it on something else. That makes it too easy and not too bad to lie to them. You're really just giving them what they want. It's different when you lie to another kid. Most times kids really do want to know what they're asking you. I guess I've been thinking too long because he said, you run all the way from Grand Rapids to Owasso? Was it because your daddy used to beat you? Shucks, my daddy never laid a hand on me in his life. Then how come you run? I didn't like where I was. That's not a lie. Well, if you're lying about your daddy beating you, you better scram right after breakfast because my grandpa's taking you straight back home. Scott, you talk too much, the little girl said. Let him sit down. Mama's going to be bringing sausages in a minute. You like sausages, don't you? Uh-huh. I'd never had sausages before, but if it was what I was thinking made the house smell so good, I think I was going to like it. Good, because my grandpa brought them all the way from Grand Rapids. He always brings good food, and we're going to share it with you because Mama said you're our special guest, and we have to treat you nice. Am I being nice? So far, Kim. Good, I'll make a deal with you. What kind of deal? I'll sing a song that I made up all by myself, and when I'm done, you get to ask one question, and you have to answer and cross your heart you'll tell the truth. All right, that didn't sound so bad. Okay, here goes. It took me a long time to make the song up. I hope you like it. The boy said, oh, brother. I don't think I can sing like Kim, but she says, Mama says no, Mama says no. I listen, you don't. The building falls down. You get crushed, I don't. Wah ha ha ha. Boy, that was about the worst song I ever heard. Kim stood up and bowed like a princess. I clapped my hands together. She said, thank you very much. Scott shook his head. That's my part of the deal. Now you have to keep your part and answer the question. Okay. Now, can you tell me about how your mother died? Scott's foot kicked at her under the table. Who told you my mama died? Oops. My mama got sick. She died really fast, I told Kim anyway. She didn't feel pain or suffering. I hope my mother never dies, said Kim. Scott said, stupid, everybody's going to die. Ooh, I'm telling Mama you called me stupid. You do, and I'll tell her that you've got one of those pancakes in the pocket of your dress. She shut right up. I told her, he's right. Everybody's got to die. It's not sad unless they do it real slow and suffer. My mama died so quick and so painless, she didn't have time to close her eyes. She didn't have time to make a face like she was hurting. Both of Lefty Lewis's grandkids looked really surprised at this news. Mrs. Litt came in the room with another blue plate covering with little round pieces of meat. I guess those were the sausages. She saw the way her kids were looking at me with their mouths half open and said, now you two aren't talking Bud's ear off, are you? Oh no, Mama. But Kim's coming very close to. I was not. I was just making pleasant conversation. Mrs. Litt laughed and set the plate right on the table in front of me. Mr. Lewis came up with a big glass jug filled with orange juice. Mrs. Litt sat down. Scott and Kim, would you say the grace, please? Everyone ducked their heads and said, God is great, God is good, let us thank him for our food, amen. Then people started passing the big blue plates around and taking toast and pancakes and sausages with their forks. I watched to see how much everyone took, and I tried to take the same. Ooh, it does have good manners. Then I started to watch how much food the two kids put on their fork every time so I wouldn't look like a pig. Lefty Lewis noticed I was taking a long time and told his daughter, see what I told you, Nina? Poor Bud Not Bunny is so skinny and his stomach has shrunk down so much that just smelling the food has got the boy full. I guess that means more for the rest of us. Everyone except me and Mrs. Litt yelled a big cheer. Eating with the Sleets and Lefty Lewis was hard to do, not because they had bad table manners, but because they talked through the whole breakfast. They kept trying to get me to talk, too. At home, after Grace was said, we weren't allowed to say nothing. Eating and being quiet is a hard habit to break. Every time one of the Sleets would talk to me, I'd look around and expect an answer. I'd look around first to make sure no one was watching. At the home, if you got caught talking during mealtime, you'd have to get up and leave your food. If the Sleets had to live under those rules, they'd starve to death. They talked after every swallow. They talked after every drink. They talked while they were wiping their lips. The little girl Kim talked all the time, and a lot of her words got giggled up when she was swallowing. Man, did they laugh too. It was hard to tell whose story they were laughing at. They did so much chattering. Lefty Lewis was talking about radio shows, and Scott was talking about going to a baseball game. Mrs. Litt was talking about some people called red caps. Red caps are the Pullman train porters we're going to learn about. Kim said to her mother, Mama, you can't tell that Bud Not Buddy does not know what a red cap is. You have to explain better. Sorry, Bud. Red caps are the men who work as a railroad station, loading the trains and taking people's bags to their cars. That's what Mr. Lewis does. My husband is a Pullman porter. He takes care of people once they're on the trains. Yeah, our dad gets to travel all over the country on trains for free. That's because he's working. It's not because he's free. It's what he gets to do. So, Lefty Lewis's son, he's a Pullman porter. He swallowed a big hunk of sausage. He said, you know what, Bud? I bet the thing he misses the most is Nina's cooking. I can't tell how proud I am of my daughter's cooking has come. This might be hard to believe, but she used to be such a bad cook that her fried chicken was known to have turned a chicken hawk into a vegetarian. Scott and Kim started laughing and laughing. Yep, I bought a friend to Flint a couple years ago, and even though I'd warned him to be polite, he ate 4 pancakes. Poor soul left his stomach all the way back to Grand Rapids. Said to me, Lefty, I don't mean to show any disrespect, but those weren't pancakes your daughter served me. They were pain cakes. Mrs. Sleet laughed all with everyone else. Well, I'm sure you don't need to hear any more of this. I picked up the empty sausage plate, and she went into the kitchen. Quick, Grandpa, tell Bud Not Buddy how many times he had to pull the car over when you two were getting back to Grand Rapids so the man could get out and vomit on the side of the road. Before Lefty Lewis could answer, Mrs. Sleet came out of the kitchen with a big wooden spoon and whopped her father a good lick in the head. All right. That's the end of Chapter 11. I was going to get a little bit into Chapter 12, but I'm going to save it. Chapter 12 is a really good chapter. I'm going to show you some details about Pullman porters tomorrow. So I want to show you some pictures. The Pullman porters were jobs that African Americans were allowed to have that allowed them to make kind of a middle-class living. And they were an important stepping stone in eventually going to civil rights. We're also going to learn about the Great Migration. 90% of African Americans before 1920 lived in the South because of the whole legacy of slavery. After the 1920s and 1930s, a good 50 to 60% of those, leaving only like 20%, migrated to Chicago, New York, California, Boston, Philadelphia. They migrated to the big cities. And that's why it's called the Great Migration. What were they going to do for work? They worked in factories, and they worked in jobs like Pullman porters. There were a lot of them that were really needed. So we'll learn a little bit more about that next time. It's part of the movement towards civil rights and modern America. All right, stay safe, stay good. Ooh. I will shave this weekend, and I'll see you with a clean-shaven face on Monday morning. Remember, 2 Zoom meetings. Okay.